Good evening, everyone. This is May 2015, Unit 1 of IEL Chemistry. Question 1. In which order do the electron fill the orbital in of an atom? So, when we write, because the electron fill up according to Aufbau principle, it occupy the lower energy level first. And what is the order? So, when we write, the easy way to memorize is 1s, 2s, 2p. 3s, 3p, 3d. So what we are doing, every time we are increasing one orbital. Then 4s, 4p, 4d, 4f. So till 4 we increase one, and now we'll start to decrease 5s, 5p, 5d, 6s, 6p, and at the last 7s. Then we draw the diagonal to show first it will occupy 1s, then 2s, then 2p, 3s. Then 3p, 4s, then 3d, 4p, 5s, then 4d, 5p, 6s, and then 4f, 5d, 6p, and then 7s. So which is the order here? First it will go to 1s, then it will go to 2s, then 2p, then 3s, then 3p, then 4s, and then each arrow it will complete one arrow and then move to other one, then 3d, then 4p, and 5s. So which one it matches with? It matches with D. The second question, ions are separated in the mass spectrometer by a magnetic field. Why magnetic field? Because what happened due to the magnetic field, when these ions enter, they have different mass to charge ratio. The one which is having a smaller value of a mass to charge ratio will deflect more, and the one which is having the higher value of a mass to charge ratio will deflect least. So due to magnetic field, they are deflected from their path. Which of the following contain 1 mole of a neutron? So first thing, it cannot be A because hydrogen there is no neutron. When we check for carbon, if we have 1 mole of a carbon, how many moles of neutron are there? Because 12 minus 6, so it will have 6 moles of neutron. And 1 gram of a carbon, how many moles are there? Because to get the mole, mass in gram over molar mass, so 1 by 12 moles will have X. Cross multiply. So when you cross multiply, the value of X is equals to 0.5 mole. So 0.5, so this cannot be B. This is also wrong. What about C? When we check for magnesium and the neutron, 1 mole of a magnesium will have 12 neutrons. So 2 gram means how many moles are there? 2 divided by 24. This will be 2 divided by 24 moles will have X moles of neutron. Cross multiply, so X will be 2 divided by 24 multiplied by 12. So when we solve this, it will come out as 1 mole of neutron. That's why C is the right answer. Question 4, solution of barium chloride and silver nitrate are mixed. So what it will result in a formation of silver chloride and barium nitrate. And silver chloride, what it is a white solid or precipitate. That's why D is the right answer. There is no change in, this is not a displacement. Displacement when the more reactive displaces the less reactive. Neutralization, acid base. Oxidation, when we write oxidation number, there is no change in oxidation number of any element. It is a precipitation reaction. By mixing two solutions, when a solid is formed, we call it precipitate. Avogadro's constant is numerically equal to ions in 1 mole of sodium chloride. In 1 moles of sodium chloride, because the ratio of 1 molecule of sodium chloride, how many ions are there? The mole of the ions, it's 1:2. So 1 mole of sodium chloride will have twice the Avogadro's number. So that is wrong. Atoms in 1 mole of hydrogen. Again, when you check 1 mole of hydrogen, how many atoms are there? 1:2. So it will be twice the number of moles of Avogadro number or Avogadro's constant. Electrons in 1 mole of helium. That's also wrong because if you have helium and electron, 1 mole of helium contain 2 electrons. So if one, it will be again twice one molecule in 1 mole of oxygen. That's true, because one oxygen, this is about the molecule. So 1 mole of oxygen will have 6 into 10 to the power 23 particles. But here what happened? Always it was twice, because this contained 2 ions, this contained 2 atoms, this contained 2 electrons. But D is the right answer, in which 1 mole of oxygen molecule is same as the Avogadro's number. Question 6. 10 grams of magnesium is added to 1 dm cube of 1 mole per 1 dm cube of 1 mole per dm cube copper sulfate. The mixture is stirred until no further reaction. Which of the following is a result of this reaction? So when we write the equation here, the magnesium, which is more reactive, displaces the copper, result in a formation of magnesium sulfate plus copper. The mole ratio is 1:1. So if we have 10 gram of magnesium, it should be 10 divided by 24 to get the moles of magnesium. So this is 10 divided by 24. The moles are 0.41. And how many moles are there? Concentration is 1 and volume is also 1. So this is 1 mole of copper sulfate and 0.41 moles of magnesium. So you can clearly see the ratio is 1:1. If we have 0.41, we have more than enough copper sulfate. So magnesium is a limiting reagent, or copper sulfate will be the excess reagent. So what will happen? All the magnesium will react. Which of the following gas sample has a same volume of 7 gram of carbon monoxide? So when we have the same moles of a gas, equal number of moles of a gas occupy the same volume. So 7 grams, how many moles are there? 7 divided by carbon is 12 and oxygen is 16, so 28. So 7 divided by 28, this will give us 0.25 moles. So we simply have to check which one is having 0.25 moles. That will be the answer. If we have 1 gram of hydrogen, so hydrogen is H2. So 1 gram of hydrogen, moles equal mass in gram over molar mass, so 0.5 moles will be there for hydrogen. For nitrogen, which is N2, so 3.5 divided by 14 times 2, 28. So 3.5 divided by 28, that's equal to 0.125 moles. And argon is a monoatomic gas, group 8 element, so mass in gram divided by molar mass, that will come out 0.25. So you can see the moles of argon are same as the moles of carbon monoxide, so they will occupy the same volume at standard same temperature and pressure. Which of the following aqueous solution contain the greatest number of negative ions? So first we'll find the moles for each. The volume is given 500 cm cube. So 0.5, this will be 0.25, this will be 0.25, and this will be 0.5. 0.5 into 0.1, so this will be 0.05. 0.25 multiplied by 0.12, that will be 0.03. 0.025, sorry, 0.25 multiplied by 0.15, that's equal to 0.0375. And the last one, 0.5 multiplied by 0.1, which is equals to 0.05. But what about the moles of negative ion? Because when sodium sulfate will dissociate, it will only give one sulfate ion. So the same number will be there because the ratio is 1:1. What about barium chloride? When it will dissociate, it will give 2 chloride ion. So the moles will be twice, it will be 0.06 because 0.03 times 2. For potassium iodide, it will also give 1 mole of negative ion. So it will be same as 0.0375. And for zinc nitrate, when it will decompose, it will give 2 nitrate ions. So the nitrate is -1, so number of moles will be twice, so it will be 0.1. So which one is having the highest value? It's D, zinc nitrate will give the most number of negative ions in the solution. Question 9. In an experiment carried out at 200 cm, 20 cm cube of ammonia reacted with excess of copper to oxide. What would be the total volume of a gaseous product? So we have water also in a gaseous state and nitrogen in a gaseous state. What is the ratio of ammonia, which is a limiting reagent? So ratio between ammonia and water, 2:3. So if we have 20 cm cube, this will be X, cross multiply, so we'll get 30 cm cube of water vapors. And the relation between ammonia and nitrogen, 2:1. So if you have 20 cm cube, this will be X cross multiply, so we'll get 10 cm cube of nitrogen. So 10 cm cube of nitrogen and 30 cm cube of water vapors. So the total gaseous product will be 40 cm cube. So question 9D is the right answer. Ammonia is manufactured from hydrogen and nitrogen in the Haber's process. 60 tons of hydrogen produces 80 tons of ammonia. What is the percentage yield? So percentage yield is the practical value divided by theoretical value multiplied by 100. So practical value is given in the question. So practically we are getting 80 tons. So either A will be answer or B. But theoretically, how we work out theoretically, because ratio of the mass, this is 6 and 17 multiplied by 2, 34. So 6 is to 34. So if it is 60, then it will be 340 tons. That is a theoretical value. So theoretically, we should get 340, but practically we are getting 80. So practical value divided by theoretical value into 100, that will give us the percentage yield. Which of the following compound has the greatest ionic character? So to identify the ionic character, the size of the ion, when they have a greater difference in the reactivity, they will have a greater ionic character. So when we check down the group for metal of group 1, reactivity increases, and for non-metal, reactivity decrease. So when we check the position, we have potassium and cesium, and when we check the position, fluorine and iodine. So which one have the greatest ionic character? Cesium, the more reactive, and the fluorine, the more reactive. So when they react, they will have the maximum or greatest ionic character. Which species has a dative covalent bond? So in dative covalent bond, H3O, oxygen belongs to group 6, so it will share 2 electrons and hydrogen share 1. There are 2 lone pairs. If there is a proton, this proton does not have any electrons, so this lone pair form a bond with this proton, and we call this as a dative bond. So in H3O, there is a dative bond. Question 13. The atomic radius of potassium is larger than of sodium, because potassium has, so what is the reason why the atomic radius is greater for potassium? So when we check for sodium, first shell 2 electrons, second shell 8, third shell 1. For potassium, first shell 2, second shell 8, third shell 8, and the fourth shell 1. So because it is having more occupied electron shell, that's why it is having a larger atomic radii. consider the following data. What is the relation between A, B, C and D? So first we have to construct or make a Born-Haber cycle to relate this. So S plus H2 is giving H2S. That is A. If hydrogen react with oxygen, so if hydrogen react with oxygen, what it could result, it can form water. And what we call this as B. If sulfur react with oxygen, it forms sulfur dioxide. We call this as C. So this is actually B plus C. And when hydrogen sulfide react with oxygen, what it formed? It formed water and sulfur dioxide. So this is D. So where the two arrows are pointing out, that is the start of the cycle. And where the two arrows are pointing in, that is end of the cycle. So when we apply the Hess law, so A plus D is equals to B plus C, because A plus D equal B plus C. But we need A, so A is equals to B plus C minus D. That's why A will be the right answer for question 14. Question 15, in which of the following does X represent the mean bond enthalpy? So mean bond enthalpy is the average energy required to break the bond. And produce the gaseous atom, because here molecule is produced, but when H2O is there, 2x means, like, because we are breaking two bonds, OH bond, that's why it is twice of X, so each is X, that's why the total will be 2x. So B will be the right answer. So it should be a molecule and we form atoms in a gaseous state. This one is also showing a molecule and form atom, but it is showing X. So X means, like, the total is delta H is X. It means that each will be X by 2. Which of the following is a step in propagation stage of chlorination? So in a propagation stage, one should be a molecule, another one should be a free radical. So here, this one is initiation, this one is termination. Now these two stages involve a free radical and a molecule, but it does not produce hydrogen free radical. C is the right answer. When methyl radical react with chlorine, it will form methyl chloride and chlorine free radical, which again attack on another methane molecule to form. This is also there, but the product is not correct. It produces methyl radical, and as it is CH4 plus chlorine radical. So when it reacts, it will form methyl radical and it will form HCl. And this methyl radical react with another to form another chlorine molecule, chlorine radical. Question 17. A molecule Z has the following structure. What are the total number of sigma and the pi bonds? So sigma bonds, all single bonds are sigma 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And how many pi bonds are there? 1, 2, and 3 pi bonds. So 11 sigma and 3 pi bonds. So C is the right answer. Which of this structure is 1,2-dibromo Z12-dibromo propionine? So when we check for Z, when heavy groups are attached on the same side, and it should be propionine. Propionine means the double bond with the first carbon. Here it is prop 1 but you can clearly see that the heavy groups are arranged on the adjacent carbon on the opposite side, so that's not correct. This one is actually not 1 2, it is 1 and 3 bromo, so that's wrong. When you check this one, heavy groups are on the same side and it is 1 2 dibromopropene, so C is the right answer. Again, for when you check this one, bromine is attached with the third carbon and first carbon, but we want 1 2, that's not 1 2, so C is the right answer for this. Skeletal formula of 3-methyl cyclobutadiene is shown. So how it is 3-methyl cyclobutadiene? Because this one is 1 2 3 4. Or why I did not count from other side? Because the first two carbons should be the one which are having a double bond. So we want a skeletal formula of 1-ethyl 3-methyl cyclopentadiene. So first position we should have an ethyl group. Like if I count this as my first carbon and 2, this will not be correct if I count in this manner. So here's the functional group as well as the branch. So 1 2 3 4 and 5. So first position I have ethyl group, that's right. Third position I have methyl, that's also right. And 5 carbon, and first 2 carbon have a double bond, so it is cyclopentene. A is the right answer. Which of the following fuel, when burned, would not make a significant contribution to climate change? Methane produce carbon dioxide, petrol produce carbon dioxide, coal produce carbon or carbon monoxide or dye. But hydrogen does not contribute to, not significant effect on the climate change. Even though the water molecules bond are polar, so it can also absorb infrared radiation, but not significant effect. So this was June 2015, Unit 1 of IEL Chemistry.